Hey, this video will show you how to make the mallet head for your pegboard toy for the mallet handle. So pretty easy overall. Start a new part and then start your 2D sketch on the XY plane. From there we're going to select a rectangle and we are going to select the first one, which is a 2-point rectangle, and we're going to draw it in the upper right quadrant, and then we will dimension the rectangle. This rectangle is going to be 3 inches tall and 0.875 in length. Next, we're going to come up here and get a circle tool, and we're going to draw a circle near the top on the right hand side, and we'll draw one near the bottom on the right hand side. You can dimension both of these circles to 0.2, and then we're going to tell the circles how far away we want them from the top of our rectangle. So you stay on the dimension tool and you click the center of the circle and you click the top of the rectangle and move your dimension line a little bit, and we're going to change that to 0.5 or half an inch. I'm going to come down here to the bottom one and I will do the same thing. Click on the center of the circle to the bottom of the rectangle, pull my dimension out and change that one to 0.5. Okay. Now the next step, it's a little tricky. You want to hit escape and get off of your dimension tool. And there's a trim tool up here that show a little pair of scissors. So we're going to select the trim tool. I'm going to zoom back in on my top circle, and I want to trim the outer portion of the circle and the inner portion of the circle. So I just have a little hemisphere. I'm going to come down here to the bottom one and repeat the process, the outside and the inside. So what we've done here is create half of our mallet head with little notches. So we're going to finish our sketch. I'm going to change to my home view, and then up here next to extrude is one called revolve. So I'm going to click revolve, and it's going to highlight the sketch that I just made. And what you're looking at is a silhouette, if you will, of your mallet head. And this would be the center axis. So it has a little plus sign, and when I come over here and I hover over the center axis, it is red. And when I click on it, it's going to quickly revolve the whole thing 360 degrees, which is denoted right here under angle A, 360. You could always change this if you want to make something else and revolve something else down the line. But for today's purpose, we are good with the shape, so I'm going to click OK. Now, the mallet head is not very handsome, so we're going to add some characteristics to it. So up here at the top, there is a fillet tool, and I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to hover over the top of the mallet head, and I'm going to click once. I'm going to come down here to the bottom of the mallet head, and I'm going to click again. Now, the radius is something that you guys can play with if you want. Right now it's at 0.125 inches, and you can adjust it as you see fit. You can lower it to a 16th. Let's see what 3/16 looks like. A little more aggressive on the curve. Whatever you feel like looks best, choose one of the options. Adjust the numbers and play with it, and then when you're done and you're satisfied, click apply, and then we'll close it. So now I have a little bit of curvature on the mallet head itself. The last thing we need to do is add a hole with threads in it so we can screw the mallet handle into the mallet head when we get to assembly. So this is where it gets a little bit tricky, so take your time here. We are going to come up here to the top, and there is a folder over here on the left hand side, and it says origin. So I'm going to click the plus sign next to origin. I'm going to hover over the YZ plane, and I'm going to click once. Then I'm going to come up here to my ribbon bar and click plane. Then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to hover over the mallet head, and you can see these virtual planes show up when I move my cursor left and right. I'm going to hover over on the right hand side and I'm going to click once. And now I have this virtual plane there. And what I want to do is draw on the plane. So we know in order to draw something, you click Start 2D Sketch. I'm going to come back over here to the plane. I'm going to hover over it. If I go up to one of the corners, it kind of turns pink or red, and I will click once. I'm now in sketch mode, and if you drew it like I did from the beginning, you'll end up with these crosshairs, right? All I want to put there in the center of the crosshair is a point. So up top is your point tool. Kind of come back down here, place it perfectly in the center, click once, and a little tiny purple point shows up. It's really hard to see. If you want to double check it to make sure you placed it right in the center, or if you don't have the crosshairs, come up to your dimension tool, click on the point, click on the top of your mallet head, and it should be 1.5 inches away. If it's not, adjust yours. And mine is. Do it one more time, click on the point, click on the side of the mallet head, and determine that distance as well. If it doesn't show up, hit Escape to get off Dimension Tool. Come over up, Project Geometry. It's right here. Click once. Come over to the face of your mallet head. Click again. And now it's kind of green. So I can come back to my Dimension Tool. Click on it. Click on the point. Click on the side again. And now it turns red, which is good. And it should be 0.875 if you remember your original sketch. And mine is, so I'll click OK. Now I'm done drawing. I have my point. It's dimensioned. It's right in the center of the mallet head. So I'll hit Finish Sketch. From there I want to click Hole. It's automatically going to put a hole right through that point. This is where you got to play with some of the numbers. So let's start here. It says Hole Type. The third one over says Tapped Hole. That means it has threads in it. So I'm going to click on that. Then I'll come down here. The size that I'm looking for is 0.625. The designation is 5/8-11 and class is 2B. The hole right now goes through the whole thing, which I don't want. So I'll come down to termination and it says distance, and I'm going to change it to, or I'm sorry, I'm going to keep it on distance. The direction is fine. The drill point is fine. All I'm going to adjust here is how deep the threads are and how deep the entire hole is. So the entire hole I'm going to make 0.875, and the amount of threading that I want in there I'm going to change to 0.625. 0.625, 0.875, don't adjust this number, click OK, and when you look at it you will see threads in the hole. Okay? I don't like this work plane, I want to get rid of it. So over here on the left hand side, if I hover over work plane 1 and then I right click, I can uncheck visibility and that will make it invisible, and now it's gone. And that completes the mallet head for your pegboard toy.